Captain Elena Vasquez stared at the rust-stained hull of the Prometheus. Her new command. The ship was a relic from the early days of human space exploration, barely 40 meters long, with outdated fusion drives and hull plating so thin it wouldn't stop a determined meteor. The Galactic Federation had assigned it to humanity's first deep space research mission, with what she suspected was deliberate irony. "They're testing us," muttered Dr. James Park, the mission's chief physicist, as he ran his scanner over the ship's ancient systems. "Give the primitive humans the worst ship in the fleet and see what happens." Elena nodded grimly. 3 months ago, humanity had been inducted into the Galactic Federation as its newest and least advanced member species. While other civilizations possessed ships that could manipulate gravity and bend space-time, humans were still struggling with basic faster-than-light travel. The Prometheus was equipped with a prototype quantum field generator that Federation scientists had dismissed as theoretically interesting but practically useless. They had installed it almost as an afterthought, expecting the human crew to collect basic stellar data and return with minimal findings. "Captain," called Lieutenant Sarah Chen from the cramped bridge, "we're receiving our mission parameters. The Federation wants us to investigate the Void Zone, the region where 17 advanced scout ships have disappeared over the past century." Elena raised an eyebrow. The Void Zone was legendary among spacefaring civilizations, a patch of seemingly empty space where vessels simply vanished without explanation. The most advanced Federation ships, equipped with reality-stabilizing technology and dimensional anchors, had been unable to solve the mystery. "They're sending us there to die," Dr. Park observed flatly. "When we disappear like the others, they'll write us off as another failed primitive species." "Maybe," Elena replied, settling into the captain's chair. "Or maybe they don't understand what humans do when we're given impossible problems." The journey to the Void Zone took 3 weeks through hyperspace corridors that made Elena's teeth ache. The Prometheus shuddered with each dimensional transition, her ancient systems barely holding together under the stress. But Dr. Park had used the time wisely, running every conceivable test on their quantum field generator. "Elena, you need to see this," he called from the makeshift laboratory he'd set up in the cargo bay. "This device, it's not what the Federation thinks it is." She found him surrounded by holographic equations that twisted through 3-dimensional space like living things. "The Federation sees this as a failed attempt at creating localized gravitational fields," he continued excitedly. "But they're thinking too small. This isn't just a gravity manipulator, it's a quantum reality editor." Meaning? Meaning it doesn't just affect physical forces. It can alter the fundamental constants of spacetime within its field of influence. The Federation abandoned the research because they couldn't control it safely. But humans were used to working with dangerous, unpredictable technology. As they approached the Void Zone, the ship's sensors detected the familiar signatures of the missing vessel's last known positions. Then, without warning, reality began to unravel around them. The Prometheus shuddered as space-time itself seemed to fold. Elena watched in horror as her bridge crew flickered between existence and non-existence. Stars outside the viewports rearranged themselves into impossible geometries. The ship's computer began reporting contradictory readings. They were simultaneously moving at light speed and sitting perfectly still. Their hull was both intact and completely destroyed. "It's a reality storm," Dr. Park shouted over the groaning of the ship's superstructure. "Something here is destabilizing the quantum foundation of space-time itself." Elena's enhanced reflexes, honed by years of test pilot training in Earth's most experimental aircraft, kicked in. While her crew struggled to comprehend the impossible readings, she activated the quantum field generator at maximum power. The effect was immediate and terrifying. The Prometheus became an island of stable reality in a sea of chaos. Elena could see now what had happened to the missing ships. They had been torn apart, not by any physical force, but by the breakdown of the physical laws that held matter together. "I'm detecting the source," Dr. Park reported, his voice steady despite the cosmic horror surrounding them. "It's an ancient automated weapon, probably left over from some extinct civilization. It creates localized reality breakdowns to destroy invading fleets." Elena smiled grimly. The Federation's most advanced ships, technology. They had approached it as engineers, trying to counter its effects with more technology. Humans, however, had learned long ago that sometimes the best way to solve a problem was to make it worse in exactly the right way. "Dr. Park, can you reverse the polarity on our quantum field generator?" "That would be incredibly dangerous. Instead of stabilizing reality, we'd be actively destabilizing it. The chain reaction could..." "Could what?" "Destroy the weapon that's been eating spaceships for a century?" Park's eyes widened with understanding. "You want to turn our reality editor into a reality bomb. The Federation gave us the weakest ship because they expected us to fail conventionally," Elena said, her hands flying over the controls. "They didn't consider that humans might succeed by doing something completely insane." The quantum field generator screamed in protest as Dr. Park reversed its polarity. The Prometheus became a focal point of controlled chaos, its field not stabilizing reality, but actively rewriting it according to human will. Elena targeted the ancient weapon and fired not a missile or energy beam, but a concentrated burst of altered spacetime. The effect was spectacular. The weapon's reality warping field collapsed in on itself, creating a brief black hole that consumed its own generating mechanism before evaporating in a flash of Hawking radiation. Suddenly, space was normal again. Stars returned to their proper positions. The 17 missing Federation ships materialized around them, their crews unconscious but alive, preserved in temporal stasis by the weapons field collapse. "Mission Control," Elena broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Captain Vasquez of the Prometheus. The void zone has been neutralized. We're transmitting our data now." The response from Federation headquarters was stunned silence, followed by a flood of questions about how a primitive human vessel had succeeded where their most advanced ships had failed. Elena leaned back in her command chair as Dr. Park began documenting their discovery. The Federation had given them the weakest ship in the fleet, expecting them to confirm humanity's limitations. Instead, they had learned that when humans were given impossible problems and inadequate tools, they didn't just find solutions, they rewrote the rules of what was possible. The Prometheus limped home, her hull scarred by forces that shouldn't exist, carrying data that would revolutionize galactic civilization's understanding of quantum mechanics. Elena suspected that humanity's status in the Federation was about to change dramatically. After all, any species crazy enough to solve reality storms by making them worse was probably worth keeping around.